Good morning, Rabbi Sai.
Don't look the other way. Don't look the other way.
No, this is not saying it, and this is looking the opposite direction. That was like a lahakis. I do. Rabbi Sai, we're only going to do this for Nachman Seltzer, and he's the only one going to answer. You ready? Good morning, Rabbi Sai. There's another Nachman Seltzer. Okay. From our grandsons, Yisrael, Shmuel, Yehuda, listen to this. Ariel, Gans, you're going to love this one.
Good morning, Rabbi Say.
What's this? What are you complaining about?
Good morning, Rabbi Say. Good morning, Rabbi Say.
It's the first words the kid said. Sam Schuster. I've never, ever been so excited to fly. Thanks to Mo Landy, I now push myself to see how many daf of Chazar I can finish on a flight. The best part is knowing my brother Yehuda on a separate trip is also daffing in the sky with Rebelli. Yevaldik. Dear Rebelli, kudos to the team, the koilel, the artist, and you for the fabulous diagrams of yesterday's daf. I don't know how this could have been understood with words alone. The blue island, the comb, the tumah going up the stream of oil, all of it. They really enhance my understanding of the daf, and I'm sure for others as well. I'm enjoying Menachos much more than I thought I would. Thank you, Lauren Spiegelman. Yeshakaya. Rabbi Zakheim. Good afternoon, Rebelli. Baruch Hashem, a few years ago, my 10th grade class and I decided to join MDY from Menachos Nazir. It was a transformational experience. Upon finishing each paragraph, we'd make a small siyum and be mitchazik. Upon finishing a Nazir, a number of us continued for Soita as well. Two Talmidim, Oren Sharon and Shalom Reid, actually continued to Chazir Nazir together. But the time passed and A few weeks ago, our yeshiva was preparing to go on a winter break for 10 days. Driving into the yeshiva a few days before the break, I heard your interview with Yaakov Langer, civilly striking. This guy's 50,000 people in the shir. We had to get back in. At the Shacharis, on a whim, I told the whole yeshiva that if we had at least 10 people doing the daf every day, we would go someplace like Oklahoma. Wow. 14 boys joined. Imagine if we would have said like Florida. Every day the boys have to confirm that they learned the daf with MDY and send in voice notes summarizing at least one thing they learned that day in the daf. Often it's an off-topic shmooze. Today, we went out to eat to mechazik ourselves. I'm just thinking the off-topic shmooze. Eli said to Nachman like this, like that. We are 11 boys and going strong. In the attached video are Eli Lax, Chaim Reed, Shua Katz, Meir Savurov, Meir Weiss, David Wellman, Yinon Malka, Ami Mizrahi, Yoav King, Erez Sharon, Natal Tzemach. I'm not sure, I don't have the video. I couldn't download it. Maybe the editor will throw it in. I'm not sure how we'll get to Oklahoma, but we will definitely make it happen. Thank you for the chizuk and inspiration. Always grateful. Moshe Zakheim, Or Shlomo Yeshiva High School, Brooklyn's warmest yeshiva. P.S. Our 12th grade plans to come to Eretz Yisrael this week. Oh, and hopes to come to the shir. Listen, if they got them to Eretz Yisrael, they get them to Oklahoma. If we can only figure out how to get there.
His father was Shlomo Zakheim. His father.
The famous Shlomo Zakheim.
32.
Yeah.
He was one of the founders of Vatzel and Flappers.
Right, 1 minute. Who's a very good friend? Oh, Mati Middeldorf. No, isn't he?
Talmud of Shlomo. Wasn't the Talmud.
Akiva Graber, Shalom Bracha. First on a personal level, I must thank you, many members of our Shalom Toronto or Talmidim of yours who find geschmack and clarity with your shiurim. I want to share with you an amazing story that I can't stop thinking about. Several weeks ago, I traveled to Pico Robertson area of LA for Simcha and Shabbos. He met a wonderful local family. The fellow mentioned his dreams as a high school student of going to Eretz Yisrael and developing a geschmack and learning, which he paralleled with his abysmal experience there and how he put away those dreams after the year. I really used to dislike learning, was his statement. We picked up on the line. I used to dislike learning and asked, what did that change? What changed? He said, I used to dislike learning, now I love it. What brought about the change was a couple of years ago, someone told me about Eli Stefansky Daf Shiurim. I tried it and loved it, and I'm in. I love learning. Rebelli, tears welled up in his eyes. And then he said, my father's about tshuva, never learned Gemara. I told him to try it out, and now he's hooked. Now we call each other every day to discuss the daf. As he said this, tears were streaming down his face. He proceeded to tell how his whole life as a Yid has changed. Rebellion, towards the nachla of every individual Yid. Everyone just needs to find their way to connect and understand. Hashem should continue to grant you the ability to teach and uplift Am Yisrael. V'yeser se'es, v'yeser oiz. Not just your present Talmidim, but the thousands more waiting to connect with Talmud Torah. Akiva Graber Toronto.
That's a nice one.
What are you just the thing? It's a collection of it.
Yeah, that's we're not doing anything else. He's gonna do email like.
This one is a controversial one. I always like controversy. L'chvoid Moiri, my guide. You inspired me and my friend to start to wear tzitzis with chelas. Our parents were certainly happy about that, but we have a Rebbe in Shiva who asked us on what basis we wear it. And if we have permission from a Rav. That's all good. He claims that it's considered a change of clothing, and just as they didn't change clothing in Mitzrayim, then so it is today. That line I don't believe. It's impossible that a Rebbe in Shiva said something like that. Why? Because the question is if this is the real tchelis. If it's the real tchelis, and it's a pasuk in the Torah, so the Shalishinu Malbushim doesn't go a pasuk in the Torah and Shalishinu. So the question is it in the Torah? It's not in the Torah. Or if it is in the Torah, does it apply today? Okay, so I'm just going to say this. At the end of the day, I don't sit and try to convince Bachrim to wear tchelas. That's not my job. The fact that I wear tchelas, again, I gave a speech in the shul right over here, and after the speech, people came over and said, you were very convincing to the side that you should wear tchelas. How come you don't wear it? So I said, okay, I'll wear it. Now, I live in a neighborhood where it's not the most accepted thing. Most people don't wear. And to wear it is not gaiva, you get bushas for wearing. Most people, but I'm the type of person, if I feel that I have to do something, so I'll take the bushas. There are a lot of people that even if they know 100% it's the right thing to do, they won't do it because they have a certain stolz. They have to fit into a certain society. I'm not that type of person. But I'm not going to sit there and try to say, I don't believe the Rebbe said such a thing. It's impossible. I never ever heard that taina. I went through the sugya 100 times. Nobody ever said that you're over on the Shinum Abusham against a pasuk in the Torah that you say every day in Shema. You have to wear tchelas. That's not the question. Is this the real tchelas? Now, the reason why I wear it also is because, as far as I know, you have nothing to lose if it's not. If it's fake, if the guy tricked us, you have nothing to lose. Okay, the Brisker Rav did a whole thing about the Regina tchelas. He doesn't mention that you're over on Shinum Abusham. Fine. Of course, we don't have an excuse. I thought I would ask you, maybe you have an answer. Tell me them also in Olam Haba, Joseph Reich. Oh, he says it's not enough. We explained to him that the Rebbe spoke about it, and he said that even if it's not a mitzvah, it's not an avera. And as is Hasidim, we follow in his footsteps. Rabbi, we're actually going in a week and a half. In a week, it's 2 weeks. The daf of Tchelas we're going to be doing in the Tchelas factory, and hopefully we have some more answers. Once again, there's a guy here that used to give out free tchelas to everybody. It's also very expensive, so that's another reason why they say, and you'll be surprised, there's more people that wear tchelas than you're aware of. They wear it inside, and mark my word, in 10 years from now, things will be very different. MDY Coffee Corner, yes. Listen, I'm not here to say this 100%. On the tzad, if you believe in archaeology, and they found millions and millions of these shells, and it's pretty obvious that they used to use this shell, this type of thing, for dyeing tchelas back in the day. Now there's a big problem because the Reginer came out with it, and that was found to be a mistake. So, Raziner, Yitzi Eisenthal, Leilu Nishmas Keni Reb Shlomo Yehuda ben Menachem Mendel Zecher Tzadik Levrocha on his 50th yard set. That's the MDY Coffee Corner. Official edition MDY Shas, the Masechta sponsored by the Irani and Levi families, the Perek by Anonymous, Leilu Nishmas Zechariah ben Moshe, the Daf, Eliyahu Nyman, L'Schus Mishpachas Eliyahu ben Chashafega, V'dina Nancha Bas Miriam. Daily sponsors, Ilan Davidovici, Leilu Nishmas, my grandfather, Yishayo ben Aaron Davidovich, January 25th, 2000, Yud Ches Shvat. Listen to this one. Ilan Davidovici, Leilu Nishmas, my grandmother. That was Leilu Nishmas' grandfather, who's niftar in Yud Ches Shvat. This is his grandmother, Yochevet Chava Itel Bas Avram, who's nifteres on Yud Ches Shvat in 2008. I don't know if it's the same, if they were a couple or maybe from different. David Cohen, with gratitude to the New Jersey State Police Jewish Troopers Association. Daily sponsors, Joel Mizrahi, Mazel Tov engagement of Sruli Pariser to Shifra Forgash, and in honor of MDY Tzadikim. Mayor Swimmer, in honor of Penny and Luzzy for making sure everyone in Jackson 21 finishes the daf daily. Yeshar Koyach. Jackson 21. What?
Mark said they were a couple.
They were a couple, and they were nifter on the same day. Incredible. Wow. Yaakov Ayal. It really, I mean, it's kind of, I hate to say this, but it's kind of convenient. You only go to the basic forest once a year. You have to get a million together once a year.
Very nice of them.
It's Yaakov Ayal in memory of Natzima Bat Shaul. Now, if they buried them in different basic forests, that would be a problem. They have to like fly from Eretz Yisrael back to New York. It's like in memory of Natzima Bat Shaul and Lulu, 17th of Shvat. The Masechta sponsor David Solomon dedicated memory. I'm doing this once a week. David Solomon dedicated memory of Mari Reb Shmuel Baruch Ben Reb Chaim Tzvi Dov Zechron Levracha. Could you ask Mark Ashkenazi if you could put in the monthly the turning of the daf sponsors? I didn't see it in here. He might have. Oh, here's it. Thank you. Masechta sponsor Joel Gedalis, Lina Nishmas, my father Jack Gedalis, anonymous Hatzlacha Baruch Nisu V'Gashmias, the Palchik Family Foundation, L'Zech Nishmas Harav Agoy Reb Shlomo Palchik, the Meshitzer Ilui, anonymous for Shlomo LaMoshe Ben Izah, anonymous. For complete refuah shleima and arichas yom to Leiba Bas Esther, Yisrael and Malki, Tevel Teres Picha Malfi Zav V'Chesev. We are so proud of you, Yaakov Mordechai. Keep steiging. The Masechta is sponsored by Sender Gross and Family, Canby, Ireland, UK, in honor of Rebelli, who changed my meaning of life. Plenty Almighty, Yossi, Mark, and Benny, and all those Kim Tzorach MDY, Yishboch Yishalom Scharam. Ari Simon, monthly sponsors. Ari Simon, refuah shleima Avi Mori Baruch Ben Miriam, Jamie Azulai, refuah shleima Esther Bas Luna. Moshe Aaron and Miriam Landy, Hoydel Hashem Kitoiv, Kilo Elam Chazdoi. Anonymous, in memory of Mazal Bat Leo Besanada and Hiskia. Monthly sponsors anonymous, this chus of work that's good and open and revealed way for Yosef Mordechai ben Bat Yileo Amen. Yehudis and Yehuda Lewis as this chus for everyone in need of a shidduch. Amen. Anonymous, for the merit of Michal ben Yisrael Yosef, success and blessing in all areas of life. By Sprinzi and Alan Gross, Nishmas Shlomo Zalman ben Yitzchak Isaac, ben Yoman Isaac ben Tzvi Hirsch Shakoyin, for Shlomo Yonatan Eitam Ebesheva Bracha. Anonymous, for the merit of Refuah Shlomo from Malka Baschayo, Centers.com, helping Yidden Davin B'tzibur with pop-up minyanim anywhere worldwide. L'Nishmas Chaim Shalom Ben Betzalel. And the way art for the month, Refuah Shleima Yonatan Eitam Ben B'Sheva Bracha Amen. Refuah Shleima Mordechai Ben Esther. The Refuah Hayeled Daniel Zev Ben Ayelet Esther. I haven't seen Yonatan Eitan in a while. I think I messed up a shtickle. Somebody wrote an email to me, and I wrote it down a number of times that I didn't mention the big sponsors of the event at the Shabbaton. Does that make sense? I don't. I know that I put it in my speech, but maybe I just. If then I messed up. I mean, how could the whole they that I don't know. Wow, that would be a big fashla. Okay, Omarova. We're holding smack in the middle of the Daf Chavdal on the base. Isara in Shechilkoi. Here we go. We have the one mincha made out of one isar and a flour that was divided in two. V'avad echad mehem, and one of them got lost. V'hifrish acher tachtav. So instead of the one, let's say the one on the right got lost, so you went and you put another half of yisar in there. What happens every single time when you do something like that? You find the one that gets lost. It's right after you mafresh the other one, you find it. I don't know. When the three of us were in Italy, and there was a very chashuv couple from Bnei Brak. I don't even remember the story so well. I just remember that it was traumatic for us. We went somewhere. We went on a boat. No, we went. The first day, we're on a bus with a bunch of from people, and there was an elderly couple from Bnei Brak. And the woman said she wants to go on the boat. She doesn't want to go on the boat. I don't remember exactly the whole thing. And her husband said, I do. Because they split up. But when we got back, we couldn't find the wife. And we found out later that she wasn't aware of a lot of stuff that was going on. And we had to look for her for how long? A very long, over an hour. We walked in all directions. We split up. And finally, I think I found her in the police station or something. The whole bus was waiting. Went to the police station, spoke to some people. And the kids they had her in a police station. It was very, very sad Maisa. No bemis. It's like a lost person for over a yid in a random Italian city, and she didn't speak any English, only Hebrew, and she's trying to communicate with the police, and they have no idea they're telling you, what's your name, who are you, nothing, garnish. Standing in a
Why'd you just remember that?
Because it got lost.
What do you mean? It's a clear connection. Huh? What are you talking about?
This is one of the clearest you're going to get.
We found the third person instead. Now who do we keep?
Listen, it does remind me of the hemshech of the story. She did grab onto you, and she started walking with you. So we have a picture, like, and this is part of it. Like, this new person, the Hifr Shechad Mehem. How do we view the third person? The third. So, So now we're here. Now I do want to say this. Remember yesterday we said that if a Tful Yom touches one piece, Tful Yom touches this, what happens? It automatically goes to the other. Why? Because the two are connected because they're from the same mincha. So the Kli is able to be mitzaref them and connect them. But what happens if we bring in a third piece from another place? It's not metama the others. Yeah? Even though it's the same Kli and the Kli is mitzaref, it's not. Why? Because that guy, that third guy, is separate from the other two. It's not the same, it's not from the same mincha. So if we know that, then what happens over here? Now we have three pieces.
Wait, that's not why. I mean, we said also if you bring in one piece of the two that's tamei into the.
That's what I showed. Hello, right over here.
It wasn't at the same time.
You bring in this.
Right, because it wasn't at the same time.
No,
What he just
that's
said,
something
now
else.
it's not.
That's something else.
That's a different thing.
That's a different thing. I'm saying, what is the Kli Mitzaref? Hello, Eli. What is the Kli Mitzaref? The Kli Mitzaref, something that belongs to you. Something that doesn't belong, it's not Mitzaref. That idea. If they were both in the bowl, and not Tamei, and the Tful Yom touches one, the second one becomes Tamei, only provided that it's connected to him. They're married to each other. They're from the same mincha. But if you introduce another wife, another piece from somewhere else, they're not connected. There's no connection. Or maybe sometimes one is connected to the other, and that's our sugya. It's a quick sugya. Over here you have three pieces. You have the original, the old guy, he's the original piece. You have the guy that got lost, the guy on the left, he's Avod. He got lost, but he's connected to the first one. And then you have the Mufresh, he's the new guy. The guy all the way on the right is the new guy. So let's see. If a dead mouse, this mouse is very dead, touches the lost one, who's connected to the lost one, Rabbi? Out of the three, who's connected to the what? The Rish one, the first one. So only the first one becomes Tameh because the bowl is only Mitama, what is connected to it. The Mufresh is not Tameh. Oops, what just happened? Oh. He threw it in there. I got it. Now, if the Mufresh becomes Tameh, who is the Mufresh connected to? Rishon. Only the Rishon. He's not connected to the lost guy. So once again, now what happens if the Rishon gets Tameh? Both of them are connected to him. But the problem is, you can't eat any of them. Why? Because he could only be connected to one. He can't be connected to two. So let's see inside. And you found the first one. And all three of them are inside the same bowl. If the lost guy got tamei, so he has a connection to the first mincha, and therefore the first one becomes tamei. Mufresh ein mitzaref, but the other guy that you brought in afterwards, he's not part of them. Nitma mufresh, but what if the new guy became tamei? Mufresh v'rishayin mitzarefin. The one that never was lost, the one with the white beard, the original, he's a partner with the mufresh. Avud, the one that got lost, ein mitzaref, he's not a partner over here. Nitma rishayin, but what if the rishayin got tamei? Shnei mitzarefin. They're both connect. They're both tamei. Forget what I said before. They're both tamei. Abaye Omar afilu nitma echad mehem nami shnei mitzarefin. Abaye says this applies in all three cases. In other words, if the avad, the lost piece, got tamei, then look what happens. The mufresh and the rishon become tamei. Why? My time kulu b'nei bikto dahadadi ninu. They're all part of the same house. They all belong to the same family. It's not like the case that we had yesterday where you bring a third piece from outside, it belongs to another mincha. Over here, they all belong to the same mincha. The reason why you made a mufresh, the reason why you brought in another half, was to complete the Rishon. So he's part of the mincha also. The Ovid is certainly part of the mincha. He's the original. So they're all part of the same house. And Mela, they're all Tameh. Says the Gemara, V'chein le'inyan kmitza. The same idea would apply with, if you have three parts. One of them you start out with 2 parts, one got lost. It's the same mincha, half got lost. But start my time. Kulu b'nei bikta da'adadininu because sorry. Take a look what happened there. You did a kmitza now from that part. You took a little bit of flour out of him. Shiyarav, so the leftover of the avod. V'rishon echam, again, who's the lost guy's partner? The first guy. So Mela, he's able to do the kmitza for him. Mufresh ein echam, but the avod and the new guy have no connection. So therefore, you cannot eat from the mufresh. Chamatz min mufresh. If these two are partners, great. Now, if we take kmitza from the mufresh guy, you have to wait like 3 seconds. Now you'll see his head. Okay. You see he has flour. Shiyarav. So now the mufresh and the rishon are partners, and therefore you can eat from those 2 menachos. Avod ein nechal, and the last one is not included. Here's what I said before. If you took kmitza from the first one, shneim ein nechalim, because now they have a connection. And now we don't know where the kmitza belongs to. Since he's the first guy, the guy with the white beard, is connected to both the mufresh and the avod, so it is a good kmitza, but the problem is we don't know where the kmitza goes to. We don't know if it goes to the mufresh or it goes to the nevad. So therefore, you can't eat them. Abaye says it doesn't matter if you did a kmitza from any of the 3, you can't eat any of them. Because they're all connected to each other. I view it almost like tsaris, like a husband married to 2 wives. You know, like they're all connected to that husband, that rishon guy.
Is the kmitza still burnt?
No, I think if it's possible, I don't think so. Why would you do that? What do you gain?
The actual kmitza is correct kmitza. We just don't.
Here, look. Let's see. Let's go on because there's a big problem with this kmitza. My time at kulu b'nei bigdad mascular papa b'shirai in the day mi'anechalim. It seems like that when you take a kmitza from one, at least that one that you took the kmitza from, you put it on the mizbeach and you could eat it. You could eat the rest of the shirayim. That's what it would seem like. There's a 1/6 of the kmitza that cannot be put on the mizbeach. In other words, a third. Let's view it as a third. If you think about it as a third, I just brought this for, I don't know if this is going to help. Somebody gave this to me at the Shabbaton, and I was scared to. Let's say you have 3 pieces. It's not a good idea, but it's not coming apart. It's called sensory sand or something. Anybody have sensory issues here? Yeah. So now I'm going to do kmitza. I do kmitza with this. This is my kmitza, right? So a third goes for this guy. We'll put it over here. A third for this guy and a third for this guy. Now, one of these guys is no good. One of these guys, let's say this guy is the new guy that you put in. So this third, when I did a kmitza, a third of my kmitza was for him. Third was for him, third was for him. It's really a third. You want to cut it in half and give another 1/6 to each one, so call it a 1/6. The point is, it's a third. This third of my kmitza, which belongs half to him and half to him, the Gemara calls it a 1/6 for a second, but we could call it a third just to understand it. It's really a third. A third belongs to this guy. This guy right over here is no good. And when you put this part on the mizbeach, it's not a good kmitza. Now you have a third missing from. This is your kmitza now. This third over here is terrible. It really belongs to a no good guy. Ask the Gemara. And now the same question. How in the world do you put this on the Mizbeach when 1/3 belongs to a chulin, to something that's not supposed to be on the Mizbeach? The Gemara calls it a third, not a sixth. Rav Ashi Omar says, Rav Ashi, koymitz b'daita the koyin talya milsa.
Is that a different question the Gemara says?
Yeah.
It's the same question.
No, it's a different question. Well, what?
Yeah,
It's a different question. One is, how do you get to eat it? Look, this kmitza. The one question is, it's the same idea. It's the same idea. One is, you're asking a question on the shirayim. How do you eat the shirayim when you didn't take a full kmitza from it? This third is from here. Look, the kmitza. Let's talk about this kmitza. This part of the kmitza belongs to this guy. So you didn't take a full. You're missing a sixth from here. A sixth from here. A sixth from here. Because if you spread this out, a sixth goes over here. A piece, one little piece, a sixth is missing from this guy and from this guy. That they're missing. So maybe the shirayim is not edible. This shirayim you can't eat. Now, it's two sides of the same question. Now, how do you put this on the Mizbeach if a third of it, it's not a sixth, it's a third, belongs to him, and he's not even part of the mincha? Says the Gemara, I'll tell you why. Rashi Omar comes to the day to the kohen tali milsa. When the kohen went like this and he made a kmitza, when he took a kmitza from whatever it is, his mind is that it should be only on the good stuff. So never, he doesn't have in his hand any bad mincha. Comments. He's only thinking about the two parts that are good, the fully sorry. Says the Mishnah, and I can go like this. How much is left over here? Not that much. It's very interesting. Wow. I can remove this, so you have more room for your gemaras. Okay. Shalom Aleichem. What's your name? Shlomi Reader. Shalom Aleichem. From?
Edison, New Jersey.
Shalom Aleichem. Who else do we have? Any other guests? He's a new one? He's one of your sons? A third son. What's his name? Shmu Yaakov. Shalom Aleichem. Givaldik.
Came to the Shalaton, JJ Reader.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Not long ago.
I know, I remember. It's a special name, JJ Reader. Shmuck.
That's somebody blocking.
Is that one of our guys? It doesn't look like our guys. Is there a black Mercedes, perhaps, that's blocking the gate?
Next time I white one. You won't mention names.
Look the Gemara. Oh, it's a mensch. Got up. Some people, Roy Bush, they don't get up. Says the Mishnah, brand new sugya. Nitma hakoymetz v'krivai. Eli, don't tell me part of MDY. Nidma koimetz v'krivai. If the kmitza became tamei, yeah, the kmitza, a dead mouse touched the kmitza, and you put it onto the mizbeach, we have a very special pasuk in the Torah that tells us that even though it's tamei, it's okay. We ignore it. Why? Because there's something called the tzitz that the Kohen Gadol wears on his forehead. It says Kodesh Hashem, not exactly like it says it over here. It might, one is above the other. It might be a kitzer, something like this. And this has special powers. It has powers, supernatural powers that could overcome even tumah. How do we know? Because the Torah says that the tzitz could forgive an avera. But it doesn't say what the avera is. It could be, the avera could be one of these things. There's so many averas. One of them is tumah, that the Mishnah says that's what the tzitz meratza. But it could be also chutzim kaimah, chutzim zmanai, pigel, thoughts of chutzim zman, yoitza. If it goes outside of the Beis Hamikdash, it's also an avera. If you do the avera with your left hand instead of the right hand, maybe the tzitz forgives that avera. Who told you that it's going to forgive the tumah? Maybe you put an animal that has a mum. So that's what Amud Aleph is all about, to prove that it's the tumah. Nitma coming to Kriyat Tzitz Meratzu. If you recall, in Zvachim, we had an interesting thing that the tzitz gives a ritzui. It forgives a certain thing. Does anybody remember? It's worth 100,000 points if you weren't here and you didn't hear it last night in Shah. Huh? Close. No, not Taraz. The Gemara says Azaz Panim. Tzitz Meratzu Azaz Panim. Rav Shlomo Berliner says that the Mishnah Novis talks about Azi Panim, the Gehenim, and then it says Yirotzain Shiyibana Beisam. Nu say it, David. Exactly. Shiyibana Beisamidas B'Mheir B'Yamein. How do you know this? You know Ovis by heart? No. Shiyibana Beisamidas B'Mheir B'Yamein. So he says the pshat is because only when the Beisamidas exists do we have a tzitz that can be meratz on the Aziz Panim of.
One of the reasons the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, the Gemara says, because of Azipana.
Okay, so he's saying that another pshat. Shatzit says, Yotza b'krivoi, if you took the mincha outside of the Beis Hamikdash. We have a Givaldic video for this. If you have a mincha that's tummy, take a look. It's tummy. This kohen is putting a mincha that's tummy on the Beis Hamikdash, on the Mizbeach. So what happens is, the kohen gadol has it sits. It has superpowers, and it makes the mincha tar. That's what it does. But if he went outside of the Beis Hamikdash and came back in, then the tzitz doesn't work. Why? And here's the klal shatzitz meratz al tami. Tzitz has powers against tuma. Ve'ed meratz al yotzeh doesn't help for yotzeh.
The kohen gadol going out or the koimitz is going out?
The koimitz, the kmitza. Yeah. Doesn't matter how. Maybe threw it, maybe this, maybe a bird took it out. Let's say you went out of the Beis Hamikdash and came back in on the Mizbeach. You put it in a drone, exactly. So, now we have to do a process of elimination. We have all these averis that it could forgive, and we have to know why it doesn't forgive these things. What is the pasuk talking about? What aver are we talking about? Now, the entire Zvachim, we learned that pigul means chutz l'zmanim. Yet the Torah calls pigul chutz l'makom. The Gemara over here is using that. For whatever reason, the Gemara calls this. It doesn't matter, really. The point is he had a bad thought while he was performing the Avodah. He was thinking about eating it outside of the Beis Hamikdash in certain situations. If it's a kachim kalam outside of Yerushalayim. But that already says, Arik v'anemar lo yechoshev. There's nothing you can do about it. Here, had a thought while he's doing the avodah, he's thinking of machshav of pigul. It's bad. The tzitz is not going to help you. Why? It's trying to work. Lo yechashev. The Torah says it's gone. It's finished. So tzitz doesn't work in this case. In time avoy noisar. Now avoy noisar over here, interesting, is considered. Rashi calls it chutz zman. Tosfos has a whole discussion how to learn it. Also. We go with Rashi. Rashi says noiser means chutz zmana. Regardless, it doesn't matter what the Gemara uses, what term the Gemara is using. The point is, there's a machshava over here that's no good. Maybe that's what the tzitz comes to help. Eli, do you tell them you're part of MDY? Or you said, no, I'm just cleaning something over there. You have to Kiddush MDY. Now, if it's about chutz zman, it says lo yirotza. Here, very nicer. Lo yirotza. Fine. Ha'enoi noisei elo avoin tuma. So it must be, if it can't be these two machshavas, the machshavas chutz zman, machshavas chutz makayim, so the tzitz comes to forgive tuma. But why? I'll tell you why. If you have one of the three, it makes more sense to say that the Torah is talking about Tumah. Why? Shohotra miklala b'tzibur. We know that occasionally, if there's Tumah in Klal Yisrael, and the only way to bring the carbon tamid or carbon pesach, Rashi says carbon tamid, is when there's Tumah, so it's mutter for the community. For the community, so you see that the Torah is lenient when it comes to Tumah. The Torah is more makel. The Torah is never makel on pigul, on chutz zman, chutz makim, never. The Torah sometimes is makel on tumah. So if it's a lighter kind of aveira, so the tzitz is going to be mechaper. The Rashi says Carbon Talmud, and Shamshi sent me this story I saw a bunch of times. I don't think I ever said it in Shir. It's a famous story. I said it anyway. That Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky's son said that his father told him a number of times that when Reb Chaim learned in Lomzhe, in Petach Tikva, he's roommates with Reb Moshe Soloveitchik. Now Reb Moshe Soloveitchik once went out to Chleis to do kirv, to bring people to the yeshivas. He came back 4 o'clock in the morning. And he had a seder in Daf Yomi. So it's mamash negeh to us. Reb Chaim said this over. It's Daf Yomi. So he opens up the Gemara at 4 o'clock in the morning, and the question that they ask is, well, why was Reb Chaim up? Okay, he had his own seder. And he starts learning. Now, I don't know if you ever try to learn at 4 o'clock in the morning, but it usually goes something like this. The kids, and that's what it was. It was falling asleep, learning 2 words. Falling asleep, learning. So Reb Chaim asked him, he says, did you retain it? Did you gain anything from your learning? He said, no. He said, so why did you do it? Why just go to sleep? He said, I did it for the next 100 days. The kvios, doing this every single day. So it came into a point where I didn't do the daf that day, and not to break that streak, that kvios, I did it. Now, it didn't do anything. I didn't learn anything, but it didn't break the streak. So the side is always that if you come to a situation where it's 4 in the morning, you literally can't keep your eyes open, so at least open up the Gemara for a minute, 5 minutes. At least you don't break your streak. They say that when it comes to exercise also. You're not in the mood to do it, so just get on the treadmill for a minute, just lift weights one time, do 1 rep. At least you're not breaking your streak. No. Okay.
You do only the email, does it count?
Rabbi, this is Benny's official first day on the job. Like he sold his business yesterday, and he already I don't know what you're clapping for. He already got fired. He asked if you only do emails, does that count for the 1 minute? 1 minute of emails, does it count for the daf? I hear it could be the Shiloh.
I told him to say it.
You musma from other people. Okay. I didn't say it. He said it. Fine.
Why does the Gemara have to give the extra reason if by process of elimination we know that it's Tillman?
He's saying because the pasuk already says Leirotza.
There's more. The other two.
Okay. I don't know. It's a good kasha because the Gemara's next kasha is only based on this line. Shutra miklal b'tzibur. It's a good kasha. Matzler b'zeiro ema von yoytze. Look in Taisus. Ema von yoytze. We have more on the list. The avera of taking out a carbon outside the Beis Hamikdash. Going like this, just walking outside the Beis Hamikdash, immediately turns red. He's outside of the Beis Hamikdash. Why it does not? Now you're going to tell me that if you have the 2, you're going to go with Tumah. Why? Because Tumah hudra b'tzibur. Because Tumah has a lighter avera. Because sometimes it's mutter. I'll tell you. So the same thing with the Yaitse. Shur the meklali bebama. If you take certain times and periods in Klal Yisrael, we had bamas in the backyard. And we would check the animals in the backyard. So you see that sometimes it's mutter. Just like sometimes tumah is mutter, sometimes the bama is mutter outside. This comes to forgive something that happened, that forgives for something that happened in front of Hashem. That the psul could happen in front of Hashem. The tumah could happen in front of Hashem. But the aver of Yaitz is when you're not in front of Hashem, when you leave the Beis Hamikdash. Maybe it's coming to refer the aver of doing with the left hand instead of the right hand. Why? Take a look at this. Beautiful for today. Special. On Yom Kippur, the Kohen Gadol holds with his right hand the heavy coals. We want him to hold it with the right hand, even though he should really be holding. What is he holding in the left? The Ketores. It should be the opposite. The avoid is the Ketores. He should be holding with the right hand, but the coals are dangerous and heavy. So he put it in his dominant hand. But you see that you can use your left hand for the Ketores on Yom Kippur. So it's with him klalai. It was an avera and I pushed it off. I said, there's tumah today, but not today. There was that same tumah was a tumah yesterday. Today, even though it looks like tumah, it's not. This is the way to do it. This is the way I command you to do it. Today, it's not just mutter. It's l'chatchila. That's how you do it. Vashi Omar, Avoina Kadoshim v'lo Avoina Magdishim. You're asking me, perhaps it's coming to say, if a kohen did it with his left hand, it's okay. That's in the kohen. We're talking about an aveira that's in the carbon. The tumah is in the carbon, not in the kohen. That's what's mutter to put on the mizbech. And this is an aveira of kohanim. Omalei Rav Sima Bereda Rav Idi Rav Ashi, Rav Simi, the son of Rav Idi, Sima. Rav Sima, the son of Rav Idi, told Rav Ashi. V'amri and some say Rav Sima, Bereda Rav Ashi. The Rav Ashi had a son, his name was Rav Sima, and they had a discussion, father and son, the Rav Ashi. The son asked his father, Rav Ashi. Ve'ema avoin balmum. We have one more on the list, and that is, if an animal has a blemish, that's the last one on the list, you're not allowed to put it on the mizbeach. But it's not similar to tumah, because tumah is hutum u'klali. Once in a while, tumah is mutter. No, this also is mutter. Shutum u'klali ba'ifais. Birds don't have a mum. There's no such things about mum animal. If an animal has if a bird has a broken leg, you can put it on the mizbeach. There's no such thing as a male female by birds. Ma'aseh Shahay, with the Rosh Hashanah Zalman Auerbach, is doing kaparas, and he overheard one of the guys telling a worker, he says, if we ran out of the males, just put the females. Nobody's going to know the difference. So he's like, you're shooken up. And then the guy saw that Rosh Hashanah Zalman Auerbach heard it. So he tells him, no, it says in Gemara, ain't Tamas Zachars. So if it ain't Tamas Zachars by birds, in the Beis Hamikdash, certainly not by kaparas. Shouldn't be a nafkamina in kaparas. But I wasn't sure about that because, maybe chickens is so obvious. There's a zachar and a keva. Pigeons, you don't really see. You can't tell. It's impossible to tell. Okay, I don't know. But Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach was not happy with that. Very nice. It's a nice try. It says mefurish on a balmum. You cannot bring a balmum. There is no tzitz that's going to be mechaper when the Torah says straight out, don't bring it. If you bring it, it's not going to work. Nu sugi Rabbi Yisai. Dam shenitma uzrakoi. Blood that became tamei and was thrown. The blood became tamei. Here, Rabbi Yisai, we have a shtickle, not a big video. Dam, I just like the mouse over here. It's geschmack mouse. Here you have blood in the mazreik. This is the kli. It's a very cute mouse. And Avremi. Oh. I just wrote about Avremi in the Ami. Avremi's father. When Avremi's father saw him on the video, like there's another, he got all excited. He jumped out and said, "That's my son. That's my son." All that. Those who don't know. No, it's an interesting story that Avremi tried to convince his father to do the daf. He hasn't learned in a while. He said, "Do the daf," and he pushed him. So one day he told Avremi, I was there at the satellite location in Tveria, and I did it. So Avremi says, "I'm in charge of the cameras." What are you talking about? So he said, "Okay, you got me." And the next day he went, and he went every single day, and he loved it, and the whole thing is okay. Dr. Gemara. Dam shenitma uzrakoi. So the blood became tamei. A dead mouse, a sheretz, touched it, and he did zrika with it. B'shoigeg hurtza, b'mezid lo hurtza. Midiraisa, it works. Why? Because you have tumah over here, and the tzitz is miratza tumah, so it works. Just what? If you do it deliberately, b'mezid lo hurtza. Why? What is that called, Rabbi Yisai? A knas. It's a penalty. Midiraisa should work. It's good to remember this because we're going to be talking about penalties. Try to compare it to something else that has a penalty. That's an individual. There's no such thing as a penalty to the community. So even if they do it deliberately, it works because l'maisa it works. It should work by a yachid also. We punish the yachid. Ubegoy, you have a guy. I like this one because there's a yid. I don't know if you here in Eretz Yisrael, you're not. In Chicago, there's a neighborhood right next to where I lived that they didn't allow Jews all the years. Eventually, like just recently, they broke in there and they started, but no Jews, they wouldn't sell a house to a Jew. And the golf course also, you can't get in there if you're Jewish, the whole thing. So there's a Jew, what's the name of that neighborhood right next to, Mamish next to down Devon. On Devon, you know, with the giant church? Saganash. There's a giant church there. The lawn is sugar large. Anyway, so there's a yid that wanted to get into this golf course. So he practiced a lot. So he comes there and they asked him what his name is. And he said, my name, exactly. It's like, so you do it. My name is John. What's your Smith? Okay, and what's your wife's name? Christina. And your kid, Billy. And where do you go to school? Yale, the whole thing. And what do you eat? What restaurant? The whole thing. What's your religion? I'm a guy. He goes, Bein b'shagi bein amazing. Bein b'shagi bein. What? What's that?
Why did you just take us off course?
It's the punchline. You guys attack me too.
We're going. Bein b'shagi bein amazing. Bein b'ayis b'ratzon. Doesn't matter how he did it. Loi hurtza. The guy doesn't get a kapara. End of story. Very meany, but here's the problem. We just said that an individual doesn't get a kapara if he uses blood that's tamei, if he does it on purpose. But over here it says mefurish, amatzitz miratza, ala dam, ala basar, ala chaylev. Chaylev over here means the parts that we put on the mizbeach, the emurim shinitma. And look at this, bein b'shayig, bein b'mezid, even if it's on purpose. Bein ba'oines, bein b'ratzain, bein b'yachid, bein b'yachid. Here, it says even a yachid. Bein tzibur, here it is. I just want to point out a very quick thing. Before, I see. Okay, I'll say the turning of the daf. Adar Global, your one-stop shop for all your financial needs. Amen, Keiratzen. Isaac Castle, in honor of all them, the white divers in South Florida, we should all be zoicha to be matzliach and ruchnis and gashmias. Anonymous, in memory of Rav Moshe ben Peretz, first yard side, Chav Zayin Shvat. Just ha'ara, which always bothers me throughout Shas, but Rashi here addresses it. It says shaygig and mezid, oinus and ratzon. Shaygig means by mistake, mezid means on purpose, deliberate. Oinus means you were forced, ratzon means you did it on purpose. So in fact, mezid and ratzon are identical. There's no reason to say the word ratzon. So Rashi says, you're right. But because the opposite of shaygig is mezid, the opposite of oinus is ratzon. But the mezid and ratzon are the same. Shaygig and oinus are very different. Shaygig means, I didn't know that you're not allowed to do it. Oinus means somebody put a gun to your head. You were forced to do it. So shaygig and oinus are very different. Shaygig and mezid are very different. The one out of the four is taka, is really extra, doesn't belong. But to be symmetric, to shaygig and mezid, oinus and ratzon. Okay, just throwing it out there. So, this is today's sugya, maybe even a little bit of tomorrow if we're not successful in finishing today's Amud. What do we have here? We have two brises, and there's a contradiction in the brisa. Brisa number 1 says, whoa, it didn't upload. Yeah, I'm just going to show this and finish. Because the word yachid is missing, and it was over here. Somebody, I don't know how it popped out. That's so weird. Okay. Brisa number 1 says tzitz is not meratza when an individual does it on purpose. The tzitz does not work if you do it on purpose for an individual. Brisa number 1 says the exact opposite. Tzitz does work for an individual that does it on purpose. Answer number 1, it goes according to two different shitas. The Brisa says no good goes according to Rabbanan. The Brisa says yes good goes according to Rabbi Yossi. What we're going to do right now, it's going to take us okay, let's just do it let's start it. Now I'll tell you what we're going to do. Simple stuff though. Omar Rabbi Yosef, 4 lines down, like Kashya. Ha Rabbi Yossi, Brisa number 2 is Rabbi Yossi, Ha Rabbanan. This is on you because it says, Ein tarmim en atami al atar. You're not allowed to take truma. If a person has, let's say, 100 apples, he has to give 2 of them to a kohen. So he's a wise guy. He takes the 2 apples that the dead mouse touched, and he gives them to the kohen. No good. Why? Because he just hurt the kohen. The kohen really, he can't eat it. And what he's going to do, he's going to sell it for really cheap, so you hurt the kohen. The im taram, Well, if he went ahead and he did it anyways, b'shoygeg truma truma, b'mezid and truma truma. This is very similar to our sugya. You shouldn't do it, but if you did it on purpose, doesn't work. Again, why doesn't it work here by truma? Because it's a knas, it's a penalty. It does work midayraisa. So if he did it by mistake, the truma is a truma, and if he did it on purpose, not a truma. That literally mimics our sugya right over here. That what? That if you have tzitz biyachid, if you did it on purpose, miratza, you do get a kapara even if you did it on purpose. The truma does work even though you shouldn't have given it and it's tameh, you shouldn't have done it like that. It works. That's Rabbi Yossi. As the Gemara, it's one thing to say you don't get a penalty, but to say that the tzitz is so powerful that you could eat it, that's already far-fetched. To say that the tzitz is so powerful that you could actually eat it, it's one thing to say that there's no knas, but to say that you can go ahead and eat it, but it's more than that. It says Rebbe Eliezer is the one that says that tzitz is powerful, you could even actually eat it. And Rebbe Yossi, who we're talking about, it literally doesn't work. Where is that? Here. Look at this thing right over here. The typical, we do this all the time. The one on the left. Ein tzitz miratz al achila goes according to. You just told me Rabbi Yossi is the one that says there's no penalty, there's no problem, the tzitz is great. So what do? So it's very simple what you do. You flip it around. Rabbi Yossi is the one that says the tzitz is miratz. Okay, so that's a little bit of a tchak. Able. We got to do a switcheroo. So now the Gemara is going to do 25 lines. I counted 25 lines to prove that you can't flip it. That Rabbi Yossi cannot say tzitz miratz al achila. It's actually Rabbi Eliezer that says tzitz miratz al achila. So just to get to the you have to just remember, what are we trying to achieve here? We're trying to achieve one thing, to prove that Rabbi Eliezer, that it lines up like this. Tzitz miratz al achila is Rabbi Eliezer. Not, you're trying to do a switcheroo, a very nice try, but it doesn't work. Mascular of Sheshus. How could you flip it around? You have meat that became tamei and you ate it before the zrika. What's before zrika? Zrika allows the kohen to eat the meat. If it was before zrika, you weren't allowed to eat it then. I would think you chayavam aleim. Maybe you should get kares mishum tuma. The kohen himself was tamei, so you should get kares for eating it. You don't get kares for that. Why? Because it's not edible. There's no zrika yet. When you get kares, if it's okay for a kohen to eat it, then if you're a kohen that's tamei, you ate it, then you get kares. But if it's a meat that was never able to be eaten by anyone, why? Because there's no zrika yet. Great. Okay, so that's one thing. Says the Gemara, maybe it's coming to say that somebody else doesn't get kares. Maybe you should get kares. Perhaps it's coming to exclude meat that was left overnight and meat that went out of the Beis Hamikdash, that a tar person, in other words, if a tar person eats it, he'll be potter. Asher Lashem. It's extra. Riba, that you're chayiv kares. Lon and yaitze, if you eat it, chayiv kares. Maybe if somebody who's tamei, who eats pigul and noisar, he should be chayiv kares. And the Gemara just pauses for a second, goes off track, just to fix this sentence. Noisar is hainu lon. What do you mean, noisar? We just spoke about lon, and we said lon, you're chayiv. Now you tell me, maybe noisar, but we just discussed lon. Lon and noisar are the same. You're right, okay, fine. Ela ava begulum kenoisaris. People should be like noisar. Akol panim, we're going back into line now. The Torah says if you eat pigul and you're tamei, you don't get kares. Why did you decide? You have two things in front of you. You have yaitz and lan that we said you get kares. You have pigul that you say you don't get kares. Maybe do a switch. Who told you? Maybe pigul you should get kares and yaitz and lan you shouldn't. So the Gemara, because it's logic. Because the Torah at the end of the day said one is chayiv kares and one is not. Amris, now let's think what makes more sense. Lon and Yotzei were once upon a time good. 5 hours into their lives, somebody took it out of the Beis Hamikdash, it became Yotzei. 5 hours into their life, it went overnight. But for 5 hours, it was good. Pigul happened during the Avodah. Not for one moment of its lifetime was it kosher. This case that we had, that the meat became tummy even before Zrika. Bomb question. How could you give him kares? It never had a shasa kosher. You hear the question? We just said something that never, the moment it was born, it was already bad. You don't get kares. No. So this piece of meat that he ate when he was tummy before Zrika, it was never okay to eat. So it never had a shasa kosher. How could you get kares for it? Oh, because the tzitz gives you an out over here. The tzitz makes it as if it's completely kosher. The tzitz is meratzit. So it comes out that if it becomes tamei, you do get kares, and if it goes outside before zrika, you don't get kares. Oh, finally, here we get to the raya. This is Rebbe Eliezer. It's Rebbe Eliezer. Let's look at the chart again. We have to go back. It's Rebbe Eliezer that lines up with tzitzim ratz and achila, and not Rebbe Yossi. And finally, so the Gemara says, let's just do one. Okay, so in fact, it is Rebbe Eliezer. So instead of saying, what was our problem? The problem is we have a contradiction in the Brises. Not a contradiction. The Brisa that says that tzitz is not meratz, it goes according to Rabbanon. The Brisa that says it is meratz, it goes according to Rebbe Eliezer. And not Rabbi Yossi. And not Rabbi Yossi. We got rid of Rabbi Yossi. It's a whole other terrace. There's 25 lines to prove it's not Rabbi Yossi, it's Rebbe Eliezer. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDaf.com.